Hey everyone, and welcome to the Identity Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms and to check us out on all streaming platforms 24/7, 365 days a year. Of course, we are continuing our 1 year anniversary. So happy 1 year anniversary for us, the Identity Podcast. And we bring back who I like
Am
to
I the
call
only one here?
Identity super fan, you know? And that's something that I think he embraces that title a lot. And that is none other than our guest for this week, Heal the World featuring Dreamcast McFly. So welcome, Dreamcast. How are you?
Woo! Sensational right now.
You look great, man. I'm loving the glasses.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
We just cannot see you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on my phone, so it's going to be really, really bad. Happy. Well, is Caleb here?
Yeah.
Caleb's not here.
Caleb
I
Everybody
am here, yes.
He is? I can't hear him.
What?
I'm right here.
All right, I'll go and I'll come back.
Okay. Anyways, Dreamcast, welcome. You look great. I'm loving the shades.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. So excited to be back.
Yeah. It's great to have you back. And, preparing for this month, I had a lot of plans written down. Like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. And then I had to realize, like, I needed to take a step back. And I'm like, we should make things simple, but we should make things fun, right? Well, 1 year celebration all month long, but we don't need to necessarily make things complicated. We don't need to have 20,000 guests on one stream or anything. Instead, I think we can do, one person per, one guest per show and stuff like we usually do, but do things a little bit differently. And I think that's really important. And that is having these guests back on. And so last week we had Pastor Ivy Rivera, a great friend of ours, and of course having you back on Dreamcast, our first guest to be on the show, 2 to 3 times, and it's great to have you on. And also, again, Identity super fan, as I like to call you, our number one, and and then also being able to next week for the Identity Podcast, we're going to kind of go back to our humble beginnings, as I'm calling the episode, with just Tarik and I. And we get to strip it down, and we get to just kind of reflect and everything. And it'll be almost just a couple days off of our exact 1 year anniversary of the show. And so I figured it would be great to have the two of us on the show. And then at the end of the month, our final episode of the month, to celebrate our 1 year anniversary, we'll be bringing on to the show the very fine guest, but I'm not away just yet. Later on, I will. But anyways, Dreamcast, it's great to have you on. What have you been up to? Kind of update all of our fans, all of our subscribers and listeners, what you've kind of been up to, what you're hoping to do in the rest of 2021, and kind of how the music scene has been for you.
Ah, man. The music scene, it is still in a weird place. It's funny that every time I'm on here, I'm in a different state.
Yeah, I know, right?
But currently I'm in New York, and the music scene, it's kind of up in the air. We just had this mandate where, Cuomo wanted to make a vaccine regulation, right before his resignation, which I thought was kind of a dick move on your way out.
Yep.
Kind of like, you're about to get fired, so you flip the desk and say, I quit. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, regardless, I've still had, performances here and there. I'm planning on performing at the end of this month, waiting on the details, waiting on the contracts. And I just released a single. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful what it's doing for the people.
It's definitely go check out Bandemic. You can find that on all streaming platforms out there. That's one of those tunes that I remember you sent me a clip of it before it was even really much of anything, right?
Yes, yes. I was literally funny story. I think I was at Bryson Tiller's studio, or yeah, I was at Bryson Tiller's studio with his engineer, and I just like laid down like a rough draft quickly with the chorus and started like freestyle a little bit. Like there was even like little kind of like stuttering where I'm just like filling in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, yo, I know this is gonna be a hit. And once I finally came back to New York, um, I took the featured artist to the studio and we laid it down. It was a dope contrast because, like I'm bringing the high energy, she's bringing in the little sultry, cute voice, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it was honestly, it was just a recipe for everything that I needed for that record.
See, I really do love the single, and I think it's one of those that it's both so well timed right now with the times and everything that's going on. And those of you who haven't checked it out, I do recommend you check out Bandemic by Dreamcast McFly. Definitely check out that single, and it does talk about how we are in a pandemic, or more or less bandemic, and I just love the wordplay that you do with that, and I think that's one of the to kind of go on a quick mini rant. I would like to say, like, that's something I do enjoy about your music is you have a lot of fun with wordplay when it comes to the different verses that you rap. And I think that is one of the great things about music, when artists can find kind of a niche and they can really roll with it and do different things with it. And so every single that you've released in the past year, and then just the different music that I've heard from you in the past, and even the stuff that you just kind of send me for fun, there's always just this fun little wordplay with it, whether it be bandemic, pandemic, whether it be something like in Cloud Surf, where you're having, you're doing different stuff, and the jet ski and everything. I think stuff like that, it can be really fun, but it can also just bring out a different side in music. I think people sometimes think with music, oh, this artist only has fun, or this artist is only serious, but it's like you can be a mix of both. Like your song can be fun and serious at the same time. Your song can convey different moods and emotions. Your song can contain different subjects, and I think people sometimes don't always recall that of sorts. But I really do enjoy the Single Man, and I can't wait to see what else is up your sleeve over the next year.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. With Bandemic and just the songs that I've been releasing in general, I believe like we're all humans, and you had to have this mix of duality. Not everything is a party, like sometimes we gotta get serious about certain things, and if you're also hyper serious about it, when are you having fun? So
So true.
I try to reflect that human element always in my music.
Mm-hmm. I think, and I think that's something with going again on another little rant. As Dreamcast knows, I like to do. Uh, I think that human element in music is one of those small things that can, it can come in a variety of sizes. There are some artists out there that really just tries to convey that entire element into the entire song, while there are other artists that simply use one little phrase, that one little hook, to tie it all around, bring it full circle. And no matter how it's done, as long as it is executed um, efficiently and properly, it can really be successful. It can really, I think, affect the listener in a positive way. And that's something that personally, I think one of my favorite singles by you um, is Cloud Surf. And I love it because it does have that human element to it, but it's just so like, so groovy, you know. I love it, and I love that type of stuff, and I think the greatest thing about your music is you can tell you're having fun. And I would like to say, as a fellow musician, as a friend, um, when I notice someone having fun with what they do best and what they love, it's the greatest thing. You know, it's so awesome to witness someone having fun with something that they love. And so I applaud you for having fun and doing something that you love, and trying to inspire others. I mean, I think one of the greatest things about you is there, you know, on your screen, your name is Mr. Heal the World, right? And that's why I wanted to title this episode Heal the World, because that's what you're trying to do. You know, you're not just Dreamcast McFly, you're Mr. Heal the World. You're the guy who is trying to do something extraordinary, and you're not trying to be flashy about it. You're just trying to go out there and do it. And I think that's so cool. And that can kind of really go in towards the, you know, a few talking points that we wanted to talk about today. And one of those, and I think this is one that I would love to chat on with you, and I know we've talked about before, is the importance of community. You know, that's so important. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. I think sometimes people forget there are local communities, and then there is this overall bigger community called society that we're all part of as well. And so I'd love to hear you know, Dreamcast, I'd love to hear your take on some stuff, and kind of where you'd like to take this whole topic of importance of community.
Absolutely, my man. Importance of community is honestly just, I feel, instrumental to how people navigate in this kind of world. Whether it's artistic community, photography community, community in general. You know, I don't believe in the idea of, I don't subscribe to the idea that anybody is self-made. We all kind of need to push and pull from each other. So with community, creating this, you're creating this sense of belonging that everybody needs, in a sense. Everybody needs this. And beautiful thing about technology now is it's not just, like you said, it's not limited just local community now. You and I could be in Puerto Rico, you could be in Illinois, and we can.
Oh, wait, we did.
We did. Wait, side note, we did. Yeah, and it's crazy to be like, we could be in two polar opposite places of the world, and we can still come together. We still come together. I think that's one of the beautiful things about technology and social media now, that our community can just be ever growing no matter where we are.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think with to kind of add to that as well, not only is it ever growing, but it's constantly um, advancing as well. You know, I think growing and advancing are two terms that could be similar, but also in this case could be just differing just a little. And I say advancing because growing to me means more growing as in we're gathering a larger audience. We are continuing to expand this community, this group of people, of individuals, while advancing for me kind of goes towards the purpose. We're growing and advancing, we're expanding the purpose.
Yes.
Growth goes towards the society as a whole, the individuals, while advancement is going towards expanding the purpose. And the whole purpose of, you know, community is to be together, you know, to realize that we are one of the same, and to recognize that as you say it so well, we're just trying to heal the world, you
Just
know?
heal the world, man.
And I think that's something, I really do. I think you do so well at, and getting to know you over this past year and a half now or so has been just awesome. And it's crazy to think that's been a year and a half. And
For real.
it's great. I like, just as I said it, I'm like, wow, it's actually been a year and a half. And I think it's awesome to have gotten to know you over time, and getting to know you better and better. And as we talk fairly often, and I think it's one of those things that I've become better about really trying to help advance that purpose. And I have to applaud you, because you're one of those individuals that have helped me realize that as well. I've always been a big advocate of community and trying to grow the importance of it. But I always felt like I was lacking in how can I help advance, the community. And over time, I think, especially over 2020, which leads us to another topic, is the pandemic, I think, allowed a lot of us to put our voices out there. I know we've talked on the show before with you about how we've been able to find different niches, different, hobbies that have really allowed us to do different things, and grow in different ways. And I know you yourself have really kind of used this mentality of being an entrepreneur and putting it in different places, different perspectives, and different parts of the world. You've done all kinds of things. You've really tackled graphic design. You've tackled photography. Now you're doing different, audio stuff. And then you also, at the same time, are a musician. You're an artist. You're tackling this. And then you're a businessman. You're doing all these things. You just got out of a meeting. He's a Mr. Professional. And and it's just cool to see that you're doing all this. And it's people like you, it's people that are trying to heal the world, but are also helping grow the world and advance the world, that are allowing the importance of community to be important, to say the least.
Hey man, it's just how I am. Like, it's how I'm wired. You know, I've been throughout even before the pandemic. I've been connected with a lot of different artists that I feel are just honestly fantastic writers, fantastic voices that a lot more people should hear. And um, you know, I've never seen another artist as competition. Um, I've never seen it any like real reason to beef with another artist. If anything, I'm more mad at the people who are in a boardroom figuring out ways to keep us broke. While rappers are boxing each other, that's who I want to box. Give me Jimmy Iovine. No, I'm kidding. I hope he's not hearing this. But give me the
I've got him on speed dial.
Maybe not Jimmy Iovine because he's Jewish and he might ruin me. But the people who run this whole streaming thing that give you what, $1 for every 500 streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the people I want to fight. But no, like, in all seriousness, I've came across a lot of like immaculate, beautiful, intricate voices that I feel like should be heard. And when I come across these people that come into my life, I'm not shy about it. I let them know about their magic. And honestly, it's been beautiful just seeing them, seeing other artists kind of just hone their craft and truly believe in themselves. I don't need to have any personal stake in it. A lot of these artists I've even done music with
Yeah.
yet.
I was gonna say yet though.
Yet.
I think that's one of those things though. You I think that shows your selflessness, and it also just shows again who you are as a human being. Um, and I think it goes for a lot of people in different industries as well. There are individuals who are just going to be out there just to continue to advance, the art and the beauty of their industry. They're not necessarily in it to be better than one person. They're not necessarily in it to, work their way up and defeat someone. It's not about that. And with music, especially, I think I've always found it ironic that there are artists out there that are trying to always be the best and trying to be better than say one other specific band or artist. And it's like, but you're all doing the same thing. You're all creating music and art. And granted, you may be creating a different piece of art than someone else. It doesn't mean that you are necessarily better than them by creating that art.
Right. All of it is subjective. Especially like, well, for instance, with rap, some people feel like Jay-Z's the best. Some people feel like Nas is the best. Some people feel like hip hop's lyrical progression died with Biggie and Tupac. Like everybody has their own subjective view, and even on bigger, well, even expanding outside of hip hop. Some people think that Radiohead is the best band ever. Some people might say it's The Who. It's like, it's honestly,
But who is it?
I should have thought that coming. I should
I
have
do
thought
my best.
But for real, I mean, the whole competition aspect to me, it's kind of like bogus. We all make our art, and it's all subjectively different because it's all supposed to be our own story,
Yeah,
So
I agree. I do agree with that. And as we kind of transition into another topic too, I think we can really take this, and I'm going to try to see how I can smoothly transition here. But I feel like, with that, the waves, with that advancement of being individuals, being fair, and just creating music and art, that kind of goes with other industries, other topics, even like technology. And I know if you know Dreamcast well, and if you have heard his episodes here on the show before, then you know that we love to talk a little bit of technology and different stuff here. And so I love to kind of hear what you would like to bring to the table today on this topic of technological advancements, because all I know is that Dreamcast wants to talk about this. I don't know exactly what he wants to talk about, so I'm going to put my seatbelt on, and we
oh man, I can't say too much. I can't say too much on the subject only because now I'm in contract. But no, for real. But yeah. So right now I'm knocking on the doors for virtual and augmented reality. I believe that there's going to be a lot of interesting things that we can do with this. I even believe that as far as my mission of, healing the world, I believe that through augmented reality, I might be able to help people find peace with certain aspects of their life or certain aspects of their past. Honestly, it's crazy to me because, I've had these kind of visions from back like 99, 2000, and just seeing how society has progressed to what we've seen in movies where it was just, fiction. It was just a figment of our imaginations, and seeing that this all could be made into a real life thing is honestly just miraculous. It's miraculous. As a movie nerd, as a tech guy in general, it's crazy that we made all of this possible. And it just goes to show, like, whatever you really have in your head can actually be done if you just put the time and effort into it.
So true. I think that is one of the most truthful statements that you can say in today's day and age. If you put in the time and effort, if you go forward with your ideas, you really can make something beautiful. You can really change the world in a variety of ways. You know, it may not necessarily be um, bringing the divide closer, stitching up the divide or anything. It could simply just be putting out a new piece of technology. It could be writing a new book, anything like that. But taking that idea that you have, I would like to say I personally believe any idea can be really special. And as you said, Dreamcast, if you do take that time and effort and you really work on it and you just craft it and make it something just unique and you put your heart and soul into it, it can benefit thousands, millions, billions. I mean, it can benefit the entire world. And I think sometimes people forget that something so small, something that starts out so small, can be so large in hindsight. And
Absolutely.
I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that.
Honestly, even one of the technological advancements that I could talk about without breaching contract is this whole NFT thing. Is honestly, while a lot of people feel like it's a bubble that's going to bust at any minute, what people aren't, what a lot of people are ignoring because of the whole trendiness that's kind of like catapulting, is that it solved a problem with people's intellectual property. I was talking to a friend, and it was like kind of crazy that he has his work on a website, and without NFTs backing this, anybody could have just screenshotted his stuff, printed it out, and sold it for like pennies. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like now we have something put in place where that metadata is tracked, and it's no longer, it adds more value to the digital aspect of things. It's a layer of protection that was never had on people's property.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, just having something like this in the world in this day and age is, I'm going to keep using this word, miraculous.
Great word. Great word. One of my favorites. To kind of expand on this NFT thing, something I've realized is I think a lot more people are really starting to learn more about NFTs. I've noticed a lot more of transactions occurring over NFTs. I feel like a lot of bigger businesses simply in the United States have started to offer different NFTs and different stuff. I've noticed sports like Major League Baseball do stuff like that. I've noticed bands offer their entire album as an NFT. It's been really interesting to kind of see this change into something different, but then also kind of going towards a political spectrum. Recently, with the infrastructure bill just being passed late last night in the United States, there's been a lot of talk about different things with cryptocurrency and NFTs. Will that be thrown away and just be completely blocked? And there's been a lot of talk with that. And so I'm kind of curious where your mindset kind of lies with that and what you've seen with NFTs. Because as someone who is very big into that game right now, and as someone, as you said, has some really, as someone who knows, and I cannot say, but some very exciting plans coming up. It is interesting to kind of hear your opinion on this.
Oh man, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, you know, besides obviously my stance in it, I feel like there's a lot of money that could have been allocated in other ways. Oh man, am I really gonna do this here? You know what? I'm really gonna do this. I mean,
He's gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I feel like we don't need this kind of military budget. Honestly, like 3% of the military's budget could have already fixed a lot of America's problems. And you know, it's just to always be the kid on the playground with the biggest stick. But it's like other people have sticks and we're walking around with a tree trunk. And the tree trunk is a bazooka.
Oh my god!
Like, honestly, I feel like the whole infrastructure thing was kind of like a oh man, I'm really doing this. I feel like
we can move on to a complete different topic.
No. It's all good. It's all good, man. I really feel like this was kind of like just a thing to like protect Wall Street because there isn't anything. There hasn't been a thing where the government or any government has been able to regulate this, and because a lot of new age millionaires are coming out of this. And a lot of people, especially in our generation, are moving away from stocks and moving towards this thing where the government hasn't had a way to regulate this in so long. And now they're just trying to put their foot in the door with that. I feel like this is just I feel like this is another way of trying to honestly stop people like you and me from getting to that next threshold. So I'm not in support of it. They're gonna do it anyways, and all it's gonna do is have people be more creative on avoiding this the same way billionaires avoid their taxes. So I don't know what they really plan to accomplish with this.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are a lot of questions in the air. There are a lot of things that I'm scratching my head over. But at the same time, we're at the point where, you know, individuals like you and I are supposed to matter and are supposed to have some sort of say in this, and yet we don't. And we won't.
We don't, and we won't. This is just another one of those things where it's just gonna get done to us, and we gotta be strategic. And you and I can talk about that off air.
Yeah, another time. Well, you know, and as we continue this episode, once again, you're listening and watching the Identity Podcast. Thank you as always for doing so. We have Dreamcast McFly here on the show for Heal the World as we continue our celebration of our 1-year anniversary all month long. Some exciting stuff for our final 2 episodes of the month, and some exciting updates and plans that we'll talk about next week as we do Humble Beginnings, featuring just Tarik and I, both your hosts for the show. It'll be really fun to kind of scale back a little bit and just have the two of us on the show again. But as we kind of get closer to wrapping up the show here for tonight's episode, we've talked about Bandemic, the recent single by Dreamcast. We've talked about technological advancements, different stuff going from there, how that's also kind of affected right now where we are with today's government and the recent infrastructure bill and just all kinds of stuff. And I think one of the big things right now is all the trauma that we've kind of that we've experienced in our lives, but especially in the past year and a half. Over the course of the past 16, 18 months since the pandemic began, there's been a lot of events that have inflicted trauma, whether it be pandemic related or otherwise. It's been very evident in our lives. And I know that Dreamcast, I know that's something that you really wanted to discuss today. And that's something that, knowing Dreamcast, if you do know him, that's something that he just does in general. He tries to help people heal. Remember Mr. Heal the World? We might have mentioned it earlier. I don't know. But that perspective right there, I can't imagine how it must be to every day to go out there, and I'm sure it is tough at times to be able to continue to keep a positive mentality on trying to help others heal. But I applaud you for having that mentality.
I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate that. With this whole Bandemic single, like I wanted to kind of do like a lighthearted thing where people can kind of like look at that year that we had behind us and kind of just like relieve the stress that some of the darkest days are behind us. And honestly, like I just try to do it in a lighthearted way where I'm also kind of giving people a little bit of a game on ways that they can make money through technology. Just got another stock tip, Reddit off of Reddit. And it's kind of like poking fun at the whole state of the world right now. But ultimately, like you said, I do try to always continue that mission of helping others heal. And yeah, it does get taxing at times. It definitely does. There's days where I need somebody like me to shake me out of apathy, or shake me out of whatever funk I might be in at times. But always I try to remember that the importance of this light work kind of brings me back to reality in a sense. And the importance of this light work is, I have me. I have me, and that's enough. So when I, zero in and give myself that reminder, I can continue the light work that I do for others, whether it be talking them through whatever trauma it is, giving them solutions to things that might be overwhelming for them at times, and light work that I can't even talk about, but not on air anyways. But yeah, honestly, I just want to see people ultimately be the best versions of themselves. And not because somebody else deserves it, but because they themselves deserve to see the best versions of themselves.
So true.
And it might, help society move in a better direction if not everybody is moving with ill intent.
Mhm. I agree. I think, something that I have thought for a long time is one way to be able to have this world peace that is so wanted across the globe is by simply allowing kindness to spread. I think people forget that kindness goes such a long way, and kindness is a part of healing. Um, it can be as simple as asking someone how they are doing that day and caring and listening to them and their response, or it could be holding a door open for someone, that can mean a lot to people. And I actually knew someone who used to do this, tried to do 5 acts of kindness every single day. And I was like, that's great. And they ended up doing way more than 5 every day. But it was that fact of trying to do at least 5, knowing that by the end of the day, they at least affected and impacted 5 people in a positive manner. How great is that? You're taking 5 people a day. By the end of the week, you are in the hundreds. By the end of the month, you are in the thousands. That is so important. By the end of a month, from day 1 to day 30 or 31, you have impacted thousands of people by doing a couple random acts of kindness every single day. And then that person takes that act of kindness and says, you know what? I'm going to do it for someone. And they find someone and they do it. And then it spreads. You know,
Yeah.
you have a pandemic, and then there's the pandemic of kindness, which is a good thing. Um, and that right there, I wish it would continue to spread across the globe. And it's something that our world needs so desperately right now. It is so evident that we need it so badly. And I have to thank people like yourself, Dreamcast, that do amazing things. I have to thank people like Tarik. I have to thank people all across my life, and people that I've been able to meet, um, that have done incredible things. And there are all of our guests on this show are those individuals that are spreading kindness and spreading love for their individual passions and fields, and doing amazing things by teaching the world that you can be yourself and that you can be amazing and that we're all just remarkable beings. And it's truly, truly inspirational and just exceptional and amazing, to say the least. And I love that. I wanted to take a little bit different of an approach for this week's episode. And it's not necessarily just discovering one's identity for this episode, but it's really just talking about identity as a whole and how it's been fractured, especially over the past year and a half, and how the different ways that one individual can change it. And I think you are one of many Dreamcasts that are just trying to help piece it back together.
Absolutely. I mean, I I love seeing other light workers. I definitely love seeing other light workers, other than my variants. Little low-key joke.
Yeah, I got that. I got that one.
Other than my variants. But no, honestly, it's thank you for sharing that. Like, I definitely feel like the world itself could benefit with more people like that. It's crazy to me seeing that like the whole world was shut down, economies were in ruins, and
Mhm.
you know, we get the freedom to go back outside and kind of like almost start living normal lives, and instead of like progressing, it's kind of it's a little disappointing that some of the world just went right back to dropping bombs on each other.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe with proper time, guidance, and kindness, we can prevent more. We can prevent these things where stuff just goes right back to violence and senseless killing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that's a great stopping point to our conversation, and I don't want to. I think that's a great stopping point. But I do have to say, Dreamcast, thank you so much for coming onto the show again. It's always great to have you, man. And it's I think these conversations are always great reflections for us as individuals, and also just allowing identity to continue to evolve. Because one of my favorite things about this show is we do talk about discovering your identity, but sometimes we also need to talk about understanding and reflecting. And there are certain individuals on our show that allow us to talk about that as well. So this episode isn't necessarily about discovering your identity and getting to know someone new. Instead, we are understanding and reflecting with Dreamcast McFly. And so thank you, Dream, for coming onto the show. Mr. Heal the World, folks. That's right, Mr. Heal the World, right here in front of me. He's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. It's great to have you on to celebrate 1 year of the Identity Podcast. Happy 1 year anniversary to us, as we have 2 more episodes left for this month-long celebration. Thank you. It's great to be here. It's crazy and surreal, but we're so excited to celebrate. And so next week's episode, August 18th, will be Humble Beginnings featuring Tarik and myself, and that will actually be released on August 19th. Next Thursday, we begin our brand new thing as we start No More Lives, but instead we're moving to strictly audio only releases starting next week. Listen every Thursday for a new episode from here on out. Thank you as always for listening and watching and just supporting us for the Identity Podcast. We're so grateful for you as always. I am Caleb, one of your co-hosts for the show, along with this great person right here, Dreamcast McFly, as our guest for this week's show. So don't forget to check us out on all social media platforms and listen to us on all streaming platforms. The Identity Podcast. See you later.